with the what's the drug perk? Or you're not addicted to drugs, but they work twice as well, or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh dear.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a Smudtalk, which is kind of like a Smudcast. We're doing a bunch of things with a bunch of media, so we'll be talking about video, some Twitter posts, and a blog post. And this is about Dragon Age: The Veilguard, which is, when is it coming out? I can't remember. Is it next month?
October.
Yeah, I think it's next month. So they finally released a lot of the NDAs for the embargo. So a lot of people can post their stuff, and they've been showing off the character creation, some gameplay, and some interviews, which they've been doing every bloody week from all frickin' sources online. So I'm sure someone has talked to Corinne Bush once or twice at least in every online website. So this just came out. This blog post just came out this day, like a few hours ago. And they're talking about the DLC. So the Veilguard director says there's no DLC plans. Should Inquisition expansion, because
back to basics,
should have been part of the base game. So this is good because to me this is a good thing because it implies they have a complete package, that there's going to be no continuation, there's going to be no side stories.
In any other time, I would be so on board with you.
I know. It sounds like Bioware's learning. They're like, hey, we're not going to do any stupid DLC.
And
all these.
Not only need to learn not to do any complete stuff that is dead on arrival, which is probably why they don't plan on any DLCs.
No, yeah, that's another good point. I don't know if that's the point. That's the cause, but when you think about,
that's what I think it is, though.
Yeah, they have no money. Yeah, they can't do anything.
It's like that.
We put all our money into completely unfitting stuff that doesn't have any place in a fantasy RPG. Like let's do surgery scars for operations that would never be done in a magical universe, unless of course you're just some sick necromancer.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
What makes it me think it's not what you say, Smud, they got a full story, is because they'd come out a couple of days ago about the very low pre-orders of the game.
Low.
And they've said very low.
Is it more Concord low or Dustborn low?
Ooh, I mean, people have been saying this will be the Concord of AAA, RPGs.
Oh,
with the numbers of pre-orders.
All right. Well, I was.
And so with them now saying, we've really got no plans for DLC. I'm like, even Mass Effect Andromeda had plans for DLC.
That's a good point as well. I was just going to think about all the times that Dragon Age did do DLC, and some of it was like with Mass Effect 2, the bridging DLC, where we had the Trespasser with Dragon Age Inquisition, which was almost a given they were going to do that when you have a character reveal at the end as a villain, and then the story just ends. You're like, what? That's not how you end the story. So they had to add more story to constitute this change.
Wow.
So that made sense.
That's the thing that Capcom forced on Asura's Wrath. They wanted to release the game in full, and then Capcom said, nope, cut off the last quarter of the game and sell it as DLC.
Yeah, and then
that's not what BioWare do though. This is one of the issues with BioWare is they're very good at cliffhanger endings, and then they'll add like a DLC to like link it to the next game, and then they screw up endings.
Also, it's all MCU.
Stingers.
What's the word?
Yeah.
Bloopers?
The stingers at the end.
Yeah. I mean, let's put it this way. I mean, I always go back to bridging DLC. You've got Legacy in Dragon Age 2.
See, that made sense, though.
Yeah, it did, but it hijacked the actual cliffhanger ending of Dragon Age 2 to the point where Inquisition just went, we'll go with this plot, not the one we've been building up for the entire game.
Yeah, it was a bridging DLC, just like, I assume, Trespasser connects to the new game soon. I don't know how. But with that one, they introduced a villain, which is odd because it felt like we know they ran out of time to publish the game. So it's like, okay, we got it. We wanted to do this, but we didn't have time. Now we have time. We can finish it off. So that was like, all right, we'll give you that one, even though this would have been nice to have a complete other game to create this entire supervillain that came out of literally nowhere. And they had to invent a prison that the wardens are this epic large conglomerate and no one remembers them. Oh, so maybe they have a ancient prison where an ancient evil sleeps. And you're
it's like the Jedi. They were like 10 years ago, but it's this ancient religion that's totally nonsense.
Well, I've recently done the Legacy DLC because I've gone through the games with my girlfriend, and the layup of the Legacy DLC isn't just like, oh, the wardens just somehow. It plays up obviously the with archdemons and their soul transferring. And the wardens realised they couldn't kill Corypheus the same way, so that's why they built the prison, to keep him there. So there is a bit of actual lore behind why they would do it. The only problem is Inquisition just goes, fuck it, we'll just do whatever.
Yeah, that was
and Corypheus can just be killed by sending him to the Fade.
Or whatever the point of that was. I never quite understood why the Inquisitor did that. It's like, you gave him exactly what he wanted. Why would you do that?
You want into the Fade? Well, here you have it. Oh, geez, thanks.
Thank you, Inquisitor. Why did you do? Yeah. So the thing with the DLC is, I'm trying to think of DAO and DA2, and
the Awakening expansion.
Yeah, like all the ones I liked were like when they had a new character. Like you can get like Shale, like the Stone Prisoner, or the Exiled Prince. Like they added to the game. It wasn't essential to the plot. They just added more of what you liked, which is
interesting character, interesting.
Yes, exactly. Lore. Whereas the silly things in Inquisition and DA2, like Mark of the Assassin, was just for fun, I guess. Jaws of Hakan. I didn't even play that. I saw that. I was like, oh my god, who cares? I played
the was it the Descent DLC for Inquisition?
Yeah.
That was, to be honest with you, that was interesting. It's just the fact that the more I went on, the more I thought, this is a bit too smart for BioWare. They've really pushed themselves, and I don't think I know how they can continue this.
Oh yeah,
Giants under the ground, which have been tainted by the blight. I'm like,
different game.
Whose blood is delirium? And you're like, okay, you're pushing this a bit too far now, BioWare. You can't even keep stories together for 2 games, let alone.
Yeah, like stuff like, it was Return to Ostagar. That was the Origins one, where you had to go get Kaelin's body, and you learn about Loghain. Like that just adds more to what's already there, and it's not essential to the plot or the story, but it's like, oh, that's great. That's a great idea. Let's just go back to the war.
The giants under the ground being tainted is just the World of Warcraft plot, which was taken from the Eternals plot, which was taken from something else.
Oh, someone
BioWare take a lot of plots because they took red, green, and blue from
copying from World of Warcraft is really not a sign of inspired writing.
Well, what you have to do is look up Dragon Age parallel with Wheel of Time, and it's like every single group, almost every character has a parallel. Exactly.
Well, Loghain is a character in Wheel of Time.
Oh, literally the same name.
That's a name. Okay. The very name. It's the false dragon.
Oh yeah. Someone did it on Twitter, and they posted the comparison.
Who later redeems and switches sides.
Oh, really? What do you know?
Yeah. Is there any parallel to the Loghain in Dragon Age?
Well,
maybe a little bit.
Not exactly. He does switch sides if you force him to. So. Yeah.
Actual proof that I'm right.
Yeah. No, he's not. He's a great villain. He's one of the best villains in the whole series. And the fact that you could turn him into a warden is just fantastic. It's just such a great thing you could do. and piss off Alistair in the same. I was like, I'm going to choose that one all the time. So Dragon Age.
I managed to keep Alistair as a king, but then use Blowgain. It's like, well, it's okay.
So
I win both ways.
Yeah, no, it's one of these things that the DLC adds to Dragon Age, and for the fun stuff is just cosmetic, or like Shale is just one of the best characters, and all the other stuff is just
jokes.
filler, except the stupid. I hate the bridging DLC. I've always hated it. It just shows that BioWare doesn't know what they're doing, and they're like, oh yeah, we have to write that. We forgot, or. Honestly, I think in Inquisition...
write a sequel at some point.
Yeah, with Inquisition, they didn't forget. They had no frickin' clue how to end it. And they go, oh, yeah, Solus was the real bad guy all along. You're like, what?
Then, they've done exactly what I predicted 10 years ago when I first saw that Solus was the Dread Wolf. I went, he will not be the bad guy in the next game. It will be somebody else, and he'll be knocked off to the side. And he's not the main bad guy in this game. He's knocked off to the side. Yeah. And we start from scratch again. And you're like, excellent. Woo.
All right. Well, let's read through this blog post. I'll do the first few paragraphs. You guys want to do it yourself, I don't care. But I'll keep reading. Director Corinne Bush thinks it's a never say never situation with DLC. Sorry?
Are we on the article?
Yeah, I'm going to read the article. Yeah. Okay, here we go. BioWare doesn't have plans for Dragon Age, the Veilguard. I was going to say the Veilguard DLC right now, but that's mainly because the team is focused on ensuring the game ships with a complete story that isn't begging for a follow-up ending. Okay, that sounds like the writer is like putting words in BioWare's mouth there. It's like we hope they have a complete story, but yeah, that doesn't happen.
So would everyone with every of their games.
Yeah. When asked about future or possible future editions in an interview with YouTuber Mr. Matty Plays, game director Corinne Bush explains that she's a huge fan of Dragon Age Inquisition's Trespasser expansion, which wrapped the entire story with a nice bow and served as a bridge, which you should have done in the main game. I've actually would have appreciated if that was a reveal, and then the whole game goes, what? And we have to stop and then go in our last chapter, go see what the hell that was all about with Solus. Like, that would have made so much more sense and allowed the player to just...
No, Smudge, you just need to end it on Solus taking Flemeth's soul and turn her into a stone statue. That's how you end the game.
Good Lord. Oh. But Bush also says that Trespasser was so essential to Dragon Age Inquisition's story, it arguably should have been part of the base game. So this is what we talk about with bridging DLC. It is a quick fix because BioWare doesn't know how to end their stories, like the Dragon Age franchise or even the three-parter for Mass Effect. We got to connect the second game, which did frickin' hell nothing with the plot, and push it along in about a span of about 20 seconds. It's like, oh, we're still on the way. It's like, thanks.
Yeah, the thing that makes me laugh is we did that for Mass Effect 2, where Mass Effect 2 is not important to anything, and they got to try and make it seem important. Yet with Dragon Age 2, they built up something, then got rid of it. And you're like, you've done both bad things here.
Yeah, that was an odd...
You can't... Go on.
I'm thinking of the boss fight with Coryphus when you finally get to meet him, and it's like this crazy puzzle. Don't stand there. And I like that. That was different. I was like, okay, this is unexpected.
It was when I've recently done it. I was a warrior Hawke, and for some reason, all my companions just went down in the first attack, so I had to solo that entire boss fight.
Oh, yeah.
Hard enough, but when you've got your girlfriend next to you going, come on, because obviously it's the character she's created and everything. I'm just like, just chill. I'm not used to playing this as warriors in this game. Yeah. Just give me 5 seconds to kill this guy.
Yeah. No, it was a nice touch, and then it just, he's gone. Like, okay, so now he's alive again. Like, what was the point of that? Mm. So, Inquisition just again resets everything, and you're like, oh. Another catastrophe. So, okay, Bush brings that up because it's apparently a critique that BioWare was well aware of and keen to avoid in the Veilguard. This sounds good. we really wanted to make it the most complete out-of-the-box package we possibly could from a player experience, the narrative, and everything else. That's entirely our focus right now. Now, that to me
Since
sounds...
this was posted 9 hours ago, this is damage control.
Yeah, there could be some validity to that because...
Yeah,
You
sure.
know, if you write a simple enough story, you don't need to add any crap.
In 2010, I would believe that.
Nowadays, since we've gone through multiple BioWare games that have done this 3 times at least, we're like,
And
yeah.
just after the mega failures.
Well,
So, Helldivers 2 laid itself an egg with its completely insane politics, this almost destroying itself with the player base protesting and letting Super Earth be invaded by the evil factions because they hate everything that the company was doing, including the balancing problems. And then you had the super failures of Concord and Dustborn. That was just a week ago. And now this happens. Yeah, I don't believe this is genuine. I believe this is damage control. And what the product will be will not be a finished, polished game. It will be the same hollow, fizzling out nonsense that Andromeda was.
Well, I've got
Just more quirky and purple.
I've got a theory about how the game's going to be turning out, and I'll save it for a bit later. But further down, when they're saying, but I will say we had discussions about should this game end after Act 1. It's like, oh my god, that's not a discussion you have.
What? Who made that?
All right.
It's further down the article.
Yeah, I'm gonna read a donation from
The game will
Ginga,
mostly be purple.
and then we'll finish off the blog post and go to our other content. Here's Gingaman. Hey, sir. How ya doing? All these game franchises going down the shitter is a damn shame. Thankfully, there are exceptions like No More Heroes with their recent third game, which respected the fans and its own continuity enough to pump out one more fantastic game until God knows when. I thought that was always a not a goofy. What's the term for games, like parody games? Like Saints Row is like a parody game. This is like a parody game of the action adventure.
Not just the way they use textures is just so nonsensically, it's like deliberately bad. I saw Gingaman play yesterday, and game looks good, but very high level seizure warning.
Oh,
that thing. If you are light sensitive, that thing will give you migraines at the least. But otherwise, great game.
All right, here we go. Hard to say what the future holds, Bush teases, but I will say that we had discussions about should this game end after Act 1, and the answer was an emphatic no. We needed to tell the whole story of the Veilguards.
Do you have acts if you only have one?
I'm a little concerned because if you are having discussions and you call this game end after Act 1, to me that implies you have 2 and 3 in mind, like you're planning
Let's give up.
Another story.
Let's just give up. Cut our losses. Just release this thing as for $10.
This could mean many things.
Hope people don't refund it.
That would be like if they released Dragon Age 2 and it ended after Hawke went into the Deep Roads.
I don't even know.
After the tutorial story.
It could be the act is the focus. Like, let's say, I don't know, in Inquisition, you're trying to close the veil, and we never get to that in the first chapter. So the whole story is still trying to close the veil, even though there's multiple chapters. It's the same act, because the only reason you have an act to differentiate between other acts is that the focus of the plot, meaning the plot point, is different in each. So you could argue a whole story is one act with a series of plot points, but the goal is still just the same. There's no tonal shift. The whatever you're trying to do, like build the weapon to get to the thing at the end, is the same. It's just you're looking for the weapon, building the weapon. Whatever the condition is, that could technically work, But in terms of using that as a phrase in storytelling, that doesn't even make sense.
There's one thing with woke games, DEI games, ESG games, and I think that is the actual reason for the extremely low difficulty to the point of the mechanics only being window dressing, that the mechanics become irrelevant. Because, that's the case for Dustborn. What little mechanics there are, they are actually just pretend. You can fail on all the things there and you will still win. And Galactica was the same when it came out. The mechanics are, you could basically, it was basically impossible to lose any mission. And the excuse I got from the devs from Galactica for that was, they want to make sure that everybody can experience the wonderful story they wrote, which is not interesting. It's mainly just that you get all the dialogue options, not options, just all the dialogue that is just ranting ideological points at you, and in the end have this Gnostic nonsense of saving God by teaching God emotions or something. And since Veilguard is so purple, it will probably be about teaching God emotions or something.
Oh dear, that's not.
That emotions are more important than thinking.
Yeah, we have 3 major enemies to fight in the Veilguard, I think, and they are gods, so they're going to have their own downfall because they didn't love enough or they didn't understand hubris enough. I don't know, some dumb.
They weren't diverse enough.
Oh God! All right. Anyway, one more paragraph. We're done with this. Should an expansion ever come to the Veilguard's post-launch, it probably won't be adding to, following up, or epiloguing the main game, as Bush also points to the series' rich tapestry of lore and concepts and people and places that could also be ripe for a DLC. So never say never. So
it won't be.
That would just be member berries.
Well, it could be.
It won't be adding to the main game.
Yeah, it would be. I would argue, if that's what they're saying, they're not going to change the ending. They're just going to add an extra level, like another challenge, another plot, or a new character. That would work totally fine. And those are usually the good ones because you don't want to alter the whole frickin' story, especially the ending, with bridging DLC or God knows what you could possibly do in this game that would change the story. So I'm okay with that. It sounds fine, but again, I have a feeling that if this sells well, and it may in fact sell well because Inquisition was I don't know how it made so much money, but it did. So
I'm telling you, there's been a massive backlash to this. I was on Facebook and it popped up about Dragon Age Veilguard, and even the comments on there, you could clearly tell like normie people were like, "No, I'm not buying this. No, not interested. No." And there was like over 1,000 comments of just like, "No, I'm not interested. No, not interested." And when even it like seeps onto Facebook normie, people, and they're like, "No, not interested," something's off with this. Do you know what I mean? I don't think it's going to sell well. They've said that the pre-orders were low, and I think this whole blog post is damage control. Of like, oh no, we don't intend any DLC. So when nothing happens, it's like, oh, they never intended to do anything.
All right. Let's move on to our next piece of content. That is there's a few of these on Twitter that's been popping up the past few days. This is from Learning the Law. This came out yesterday. And Dragon Age the Veilguard, you can butcher your own body. There are top surgery scars. In case you guys don't know what that means, that is a woman removing her breasts. Mastectomy.
Double mastectomy.
C, it's inclusive. You can turn it off. Yeah, it's like, oh, well, you don't have to use it. It's like it shouldn't be there in the first place. These are crazy things.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Turn it off? You mean it's standard on that you have the chest removal scars?
This is these are things that break up relationships. These are things that make you question your friends and your family. So these kinds of things should not be present in a character creator unless there is a huge plot point or a huge section of story that
if
involves...
you're in a weird dystopian sci-fi game, go ahead.
Well, anything.
This is a fantasy world.
Anything in the let's say a fantasy setting, anything where there's a scenario where they are removing body parts or adding body parts or doing something really horrific, and you happen to you have chosen in the character creator this option that will affect an outcome. It's like, okay, fair. That's going to happen. If that's the case, then you could like lop an arm off. I don't care, whatever the scenario might call for. That would be logical. So yeah, you could do crazy shit like that. But we both know we all know that's not going to happen. We all know that's...
No, this is flesh crafting. It's probably some demon possession going on.
Yeah.
The thing is, what gets me about it is the addition of all this comes... It's because of Inquisition. In Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2, there's no talk of trans or sex changes or anything like that. And it all gets shoved into Dragon Age Inquisition with what's her name, Krem, and everything like that. And I knew the minute that came in there, I went, "Oh, it's just going to be a downward spiral here."
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way in a medieval setting, and the way it is, that people think that you can change your body like that, especially with magic. Do you know what I mean? There's magic in this world.
It would have been beautiful if there were a bunch of fleshmancers or whatever you want to call it. I don't care. Because Dragon Age has all this really crazy like blood magic, and it's like this blood magician would figure out how to...
And it would just be evil, and it wouldn't be accepted by society.
It would be fantastic if there was like some witch in the woods, and she was a blood magician. Everyone was scared of her, but all she wanted to do was be young forever, or some standard like evil plot. Oh, I just want to live forever and be beautiful and eternal youth and blah blah. It's like, yeah, that's fine. Do that plot line, and you can go to her, pay a price, and you could, like, I don't know, be super sexy or be young again, like something like that. That'd be a great little quest line. So to have these little things...
Is that in Dragon Age?
Is there?
It's Flemeth.
It's okay.
Flemeth.
Okay. Arguably speaking, that is a possible interpretation of what Flemeth is doing until you find out what's going on. That's true. Yeah. And that would have worked because we have that with Flemeth. And there would have been like one of Flemeth's failures and her daughter who ran away and who did figure out eternal life or whatever. That would have been great. And then she would have strung you up, and she's like, this kinky, weird flesh mancer or whatever. And I see you used to be a woman. Da, 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 da. And like, that would be, oh my God, this is creepy. But that's the thing. It has to be a creepy, dangerous, violent, dark thing. Not, oh, you used to be a girl, but now you're not. I accept you, or some crazy, weird vibe. Like, that would just be creepy. That would be silly. Like in Suikoden, they have the gay men. They have the gay vibe in all the Suikoden games. It just comes out of nowhere. You hear the not the harmonica. What's that instrument? That Weird Al Yankovic plays. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember it, but it's that sort of like happy gay music that comes on when a bunch of effeminate...
The accordion.
The accordion, thank you. And that comes on, it's like, oh my God, it's all the gay guys talking about windows or fashion.
Accordions are not gay.
I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying...
Accordions are metal. There's polka metal. You can't be... There's no gay metal.
Anyway, when they do...
It's mutually exclusive.
When that theme comes on...
Air metal is not gay.
When it comes on in those games, you suddenly realize... The tone has shifted. Everyone's having a good time, and we're goofing off about or geeking out about sock colors or something stupid. That would be different. But in this case, it would be dark. It would have to be dark and scary and sexy and whatever. So anyway, let's continue on.
May I draw your attention away from the pathetically low glute size on maximum to the unbelievably large muscular arms of this woman elf
Well, I was going to get there. Here we
that
go.
has no slider, at least on this thing, but has below a bulge size.
Right. So I was going to say, I'll read the
A
rest.
bulge size.
Let's check out their female butt
which somehow
slider.
can also be drawn to negative.
I'm sure it's going to be inclusive. What in the hell? And if you look at all these variables, so when they say chest size, they don't mean bust size. They just mean the pectorals. Which,
we don't know.
Well, it has to be.
There's a bulge size here. Why would it?
Bulge size.
This is supposed to be a female. Why does she have a bulge size?
This is obviously the groin.
Penises.
So this is body type B with the bulge option.
So you can't quite see it on the screen, guys, but the second bottom slider is glute size, which is gluteus maximus. And if you can see that woman's ass, it's very hard to see it in the first place.
Very flat.
So
she doesn't work out. She doesn't walk much.
Which is weird because we have dwarves in this game which are pudgy and they stick out. Their bodies are, built and big. So maybe that they just kept the same setting for the dwarves and they just forgot about how to scale that up to humans or elves. I don't know.
But the thing is also, this is a medieval world, which means everybody's walking all the time. That means everybody's glutes will be pretty okay. And not these are sedentary glutes.
Right.
We have to accept that BioWare just creates games that are set in 2020, gay California, and they go, oh well, I guess we're medieval time. That was the same as California today, wasn't it?
Right, that's why we have black African wood elves.
Yeah, if we can do sliders for penis size in Cyberpunk 2077, I don't see.
This is not a fantasy RPG. This is a fetish RPG. You have these options in fetish
It's
games.
strange though. Why would not they include bust size if it was a fetish? Because that would be the obvious selection. We've talked about boob sliders all the time.
Well, this is because
straight fetish.
Yeah, because that's the reason is that the socialists who make this socialists fail at everything, so they also fail at making fetish material because they don't like feminine women. That's the whole gender war really about. They don't want women to be women. They want, because the woman of the year is a man.
Well, I have to laugh about someone just asked a question in the chat. Can elves be black in Dragon Age? In actual Dragon Age, no. But in Inquisition, yes. Because I don't class Inquisition as Dragon Age anymore. I class it as just gayness.
All right.
The thing why they do it is that the people behind the ideology, behind this whole ESG, DEI stuff, they have an anti-human, anti-natalist agenda where they believe that there are too many people on the planet, so they need to make the women ugly so that we reproduce less. And tell us that, don't have children because the children have a horrible carbon footprint. Also, that the economy is just so bad. You shouldn't have children. Also, a child in the first world takes up 8 times as much resources as one in Africa that is starving. So you shouldn't have a child. Also, we need to bring all the Africans that are starving into the first world where they use up 8 times more resources.
All right.
Because we have too many people on the planet.
Here is the next piece of media we're working with here from Grums, and I've seen this posted, I think a few days ago as well. I posted it in the parts of the chat there and on the Discord.
This ma'am has that's on drugs.
This is interesting. So not only does Dragon Age Veilguard feature top surgery scars, we talked about that, but also vitiligo and cellulite. Now there's no cellulite slider.
What is vitiligo?
Vitiligo is when you have blotches of the skin. Like, let's say any person of any skin type gets like, let's say a black man, he gets like these white blotches all over his body. So it's a failure of a certain pigment melanin to...
I've seen that. I just didn't know the term.
Okay, so this is strange because when you're talking about that, like this is like less than a percentage of the population has a skin conditions like vitiligo. There's a bunch of skin conditions.
Yeah, but with birthmarks, I'm okay having that on your edgy main character that is totally not Drizzt or Durden.
Oh well, there's a birthmark slider or complexion has birthmark 1, birthmark 2.
You remember all these really stupid tattoos and the character creators of BioWare games that nobody ever used? This is just that.
Well, the thing with tattoos in Dragon Age, there's actually a reason for them because it's part of the culture of the Dalish, but not everyone should get them unless you're Dalish, so there's got to be some story behind that. So I don't like just throwing tattoos with meaning on it that has no meaning to other
It's still
characters.
Always so unbearably dumb and ugly and then slapped on at the last minute that barely anyone ever used them.
Well, that's what I mean. Like stuff like vitiligo would be noticeable to people as opposed to a black elf or something. It's like, whoa, what happened to you? Like it's striking to see that. And you think,
look, this example here also looks like a burn mark. Like,
right,
you must have gotten a real horrible battle scar where the thing that burned you faced you.
That's what I'm getting at here, because you could easily have like cancer. You could easily have like a melanoma slider, or what's that one with there's a certain fungus for the skin that makes your skin look patterned. Like there's all kinds of things you can do.
That can also affect like a buddy of mine years ago in a dojo. He was so unlucky to get a weird fungus that made his beard growth turn into a spiral shape, where in a spiral shape he didn't have. He wasn't growing beard hair anymore. It looked really cool. I'm pretty sure there are people who pay a lot of money to get that.
Well, the argument I'm trying to make here is that in Origins, you created your character, and if you were an elf or a city elf, it would change how people would look at you. And yes, throughout the rest of the game, it was just like, you are an elf. But at least it was something. With this, if they don't have a narrative response, this is purely cosmetic gobbledygook. And the fact they have vitiligo is almost obscure. It is like, why would you bother with this? And who are you like, what's the trade-off to do this? Who are you making happy? If someone with vitiligo wanted to create a character with vitiligo, I was like, I don't think that's a big deal. Like, would you want a gigantic honking like cancer on your face? Would that be good role playing? Like, I don't get it. I'm not sure why you would ever want to do this.
Okay. I'm blind. I didn't see the two sliders below. I thought it was just about the birthmark thing. Been a long day. I didn't take my contacts out yesterday, so everything's a bit blurry. Yeah, okay. I'm with you. I thought we were just talking about the birthmark.
Yeah, if there was a narrative reason,
the intensity is at 0, so I mistook it.
Okay, if there was a narrative application of things, then I'd be all for it. It'd be fantastic, because this is like, all I'm doing is changing a little control, a checkbox or a slider, and all of a sudden I'm going to talk to Morgan in 2 hours, and she's going to say, "What the hell happened to your face?" It's like something like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, and as somebody in the chat said, I've noticed this too over the years. The left seems to be obsessed with this rare condition.
Really?
As if it's they fetishize it. So if it's some super, it makes you even more super special.
Really?
Maybe because it looks like you are a mix of all the races,
or splashed
like
with
not
acid.
as a yeah exactly, by not as like a blend. You instead of being white or black, you're brown or something.
Oh,
no, but you are this. You are a chimera, an amalgam of people stitched together, which I think reflects what they actually want to be.
It's an odd thing to put into a game, on top of all the things they could have put in. It's probably the easiest because it's just a texture map, but it just seems.
You mean like good writing?
You know what gets me, Smud, is what they've removed from the game and then what they've added to the game.
Well, the argument was the removal of player or character controls, meaning you can't control, like if you were playing DAO, you can't control Morgan, or you could not control Morgan or Leliana.
Mm-hmm.
And they took out the fourth teammate or the third teammate in your team. The argument was, well, this is a much more action-packed game, so we want to focus on it the same way you would focus on Shepard in Mass Effect, where you would just control Shepard. The problem was that is a game focused on Shepard in a specific way, and we saw the what is it called, the X05 demo, that you were allowed to control Garrus, and Garrus was beating up the mech on Noveria or whatever planet they were on, and I was like, okay, great, you could play that way, but they decided not to do that because they wanted everything to focus along the line of Shepard. In Dragon Age, it's never about the main character.
Yeah,
every character's different. Every game.
Yeah, and the game started from a very classical strategic standpoint, which is what these where these games come from the whole D&D range. The other thing is, if they say, "Oh, it's so action-packed, we only focus on the main character," then your gameplay better be on the level of Bayonetta or Astral Chain.
Well,
if it's not, you are not justified to do this.
My brain suddenly...
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say my brain goes into the Mass Effect world where I'm with a third-person shooter or FPS with a scope or whatever, and I'm hiding behind cover. I'm making sure everything... Because it's tight. You can't just stand around like you could in Dragon Age and cast spells from afar. With Mass Effect, you better hide behind cover. You're going to die. So that focus made some sense. Now, if Dragon Age is all hack and slash, like every time I saw Dragon Age gameplay, they're attacking, they're dodging, always, constantly running in. Even the knight character who was using a shield had to dodge. So I'm like, wait a second, are we all just doing maneuvers? And if you
it's when you look at the actual combat of different things, it's like in Dragon Age, it's very tactical. You got to try and get enemies into choke points. You've got to try and flank them, make sure that your mages are protected. With Mass Effect, it's you hide behind a bit of cover, shoot out, and then you slowly make your way forward. With the new gameplay of Veilguard, it's like you just jump in, you just press the A button, and then that's it. You're like, oh, okay, cool.
It did look a bit better with a more complete skill wheel because of the trailer we saw had one skill. You're like, that's not helping the argument for this game being good.
That was one of the worst gameplay trailers I've ever seen.
Yeah, so now that they have...
The gameplay was auto attack.
Yeah, it was literally an auto attack, and all the side characters were getting in the way of everything, and they were doing dumb shit, and you're like, this is not what you want to show off very well. But even with the new one, you have 3 skills each, and they do some damage, but it's all very like damage based. It's nothing like with DAI. You had your shield, you had your armor, and that was very important. And the whole game focused around limited uses of potions and building up your shield. So if you were a warrior, boom, you were one of the greatest units on the field. You were defending. You were choking someone out or whatever. You're stunning them with a bash. So it was very important to keep that armor up and keep everyone alive. In this, it's just a bunch of jumps in the air and a bunch of flips and dodges. So I'm like, is there any strategy involved? Are you just running away and attacking from afar? Is that it? So
yeah, it's like this is why I liken it to Galactica, which is a completely different genre. It doesn't matter what you do, you win.
Well, they have got that invincible mode, haven't they? So
they don't need to. They'll just make the damage and so low and the regeneration so high that you can't die.
Was it called Game Journal mode? Yeah, I can't remember what they call it.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
It's now the game journals making the games.
But I'm gonna be honest with you. From everything I've seen from this game, I think the clearest way to look at this is, for 9 odd years, Bioware were just fucking around with this game. Like, they weren't treating it seriously. It was just their personal fetishism. And then EA came along, made those layoffs, and told Bioware, you've got to produce something by the end of this year. Otherwise, you're going under. And they've just got back, grab whatever they can do, and all they had was the smut that they've been creating for 9 years, and they just pushed together into...
can you bumble around like that for 9 years and not produce anything and not be George R. R. Martin?
All right. Here we go. Here's
So what? Hold on, just before I finish. The reason why I say this is because they've removed pretty much they've removed a lot of stuff that makes it Dragon Age, and then they've added what? Top surgery. Everyone has sex with each other. We've added some,
which is just visual
skin diseases. And you're like, right. What about actual gameplay? Oh, well, remove this, remove that, remove these other things. You're like, okay, so there's nothing really here. It's like, yes. I'm like, this game has just been rushed together in the last couple of months with whatever they can find. And when it gets released, people are just going to be like, what the hell is this?
Which sounds exactly like Concord and Galactica. These games both were in the making for over 5 years, had in those cases also tax funding, and Galactica was EU money, and what you got at the end is a buggy, thrown together, ugly mess with barely any mechanics. In Concord may have had mechanics, but everybody saw what nonsense that was.
Okay, here's two super chats.
Here this seems similar,
and we're gonna get.
There seems to be a pattern here.
We're gonna get the next image, then we're gonna go to a video and see what happens there. This is from Turmoil. Thank you, sir, for the 5. Fun fact: elf face tattoos that are introduced in Origins are revealed to be slave brands in Inquisition. Some of them were. The rest were all Dalish Elven tattoos, which were all cultural. So. Yeah, no, they were told to be slaves, depending on what I think it was the side of the face. It was like 2 brands. I can't remember the cheek, but the rest were all Dalish.
Yeah, originally, and the thing is, because their knowledge was lost, they thought it was something like to show something towards the gods. When in reality, like you say, it was just for a slave brand marking. So the only people who've got tattoos on their face are the chastened, the wildlings, that are in the Kakari wilds in Ferelden. But they don't get mentioned after Dragon Age 2. No one cares about them. They got changed to those Avars or whatever it is, who just turn up.
All right, and the next comment from Turmoil again. Wasn't Dragon Age 2 more action-focused already? Yes, for sure. You could see the Thief class or the Rogue class where Hawke has that number 2 ability where he does a backflip and escapes. Mm-hmm. So, yes, there were definite... But other than that, I mean, the mage was still the mage. They did some more animations with the mage, but it was all very, up close, and you could position your units around the tank, and... At least you could make
like still very important in that game.
Yeah, you had to do like the mage could do a was it fire walking or was it a field of fire? They could just launch a big line of fire, and that was like keeping people away. So there's lots of things that were happening. Maybe you could do that in Veilguard. We're not sure yet, but it's so fast, and you're not controlling them. How would you do that? And that's the funny thing. I remember watching the was it Mike Gamble talk about Inquisition? He would talk about choke points and talk about the things you could do with the laying down fire and keeping people in a certain direction. And you could actually tell your units to do that. You could tell Iron Bolt to go over there and go stun some guys. And you can control them. You don't have to like give them a command. You could literally control them and do it yourself. So now they've gotten rid of the strategic elements. And it's all just boom, 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 dodge, get away, use a skill, heal, and repeat. So it's not a good sign. And all of a sudden, we got some more super chats from Vladimir. And of course, he changed the topic because Vladimir does that. So Hamas and Hezbollah still use pagers, apparently. Is their carrier 72 Virgin Mobile? Ha, ha, ha.
Well, their printers also exploded and other things.
Apparently, I saw a little thing on the TV. They were a bunch of people putting their fingerprint scanner, and they were scared to press the button or else it would blow up. They're trying to get.
Well, surprisingly enough, thousands of injured, but barely any dead.
Kind of scary if your cell phone or whatever blows up on you. Like, like a hand
See,
grenade.
us tinfoil hats about privacy and data security back in the 2000s, we were actually right. Always weigh your phone and your laptop when you get home.
Okay. Anyway, let's look on the second image from Grums.
So just to interrupt you, sorry, someone in the chat, was it Castus? Didn't they reboot Dragon Age 4 development 4 times internally? It's like it got rebooted so many times. It kept getting changed repeatedly. Like someone would come in and they'd be like, "Oh, it's a new director of gaming," and they'd be like, "I'm gone. I'm not working on this anymore."
Gamble left.
You're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, a lot of the big names left, and honestly, I don't know who's left aside from the programmers. That well, not all the programmers. Some of them left as well. That guy who has his own YouTube channel, actually, he was a programmer. I didn't realize left. So, geez, all these names that you recall from Bioware. Now, it makes sense. They're older, so they want to go on and do different things. But it's like when the guy who's in charge of Bioware, the director, leaves again, and the guy in charge of all the major properties, who's also was a writer, leaves. Something's wrong. And I don't know what that is. It's probably the economy. It's probably who's getting paid what. And they let off 50 people last year in December. And there's a civil suit or something. I don't know what's going on. They sued Bioware over that or EA over that. So they lost a lot of people. Then they lost a lot more people. And then we finally get a reveal like a month and a half later with the trailer. And it doesn't look good. So anyway, here's the tools, scars, and paint. Smoothness, that's kind of interesting. Scar shape, intensity, color, discoloration, intensity, discoloration itself, smoothness, and then the top surgery scars, which just comes out of nowhere. It's just this random.
Which is also a stupid term. Top surgery. That's the top surgery and bottom surgery those are child terms. Are you adults or are you children? If you want to talk about these topics, then use adult language for whoever's sake. But as we said before, this is a fantasy world. Why is this here?
Yeah, what is
and the next thing. This is I think even more important. Why do you put this in? People, real dysphorics, don't want these scars. They don't want them. They're not marks of honor or something, or triumph. They are ugly scars. What you want, if you are dysphoric, is to be not noticed as out of order. You want to be noticed as normal. And having such scars does not do that. So you people who put these in everywhere, you are not trans and you don't know anything about trans. You have made up a fantasy about trans that you fetishize. You're not even talking about the real thing. You're talking about a magical, twisted, warped version told to you by ideologues who did the same thing and push that as the real thing. You are the people who have brought the most trouble about that tiny demographic that has these problems. And you pretend that it's thousands more when it's not. And that they want very different things from what they actually want. You want these things because you want to be special so much. You'd rather scar yourself. It's not about transition for you. It's not about dysphoria for you because you don't have that. You are just histrionic little fuckheads.
I would like to point out that this is, as far as I can tell, a male model, and you could turn on or off top surgery scars. I'm not sure how that would work or what that implies.
Yeah, that would work by implying that implies that this was originally a woman or is biologically a female that transitioned to male, which somehow also completely changed the muscular structure.
Yeah, it's a very strange thing.
In a fantasy world where you have magic.
Now, Grum's also
a world that has no trans people. I can't say this enough. Bioware broke its own law in Inquisition to shove in a side character as being trans, quotation marked. Now they're doing all this. They break their own law. There are no trans people in Dragon Age, and it really fucking pisses me off because now that I've gone through Origins and Dragon Age 2, I just realise how much that fucking Inquisition is a woke piece of garbage that just absolutely destroyed this series. Because this Veilguard takes everything bad from Inquisition, times it by 1,000, and then shoves it more in your face.
Well, one thing that Grum says here is vitiligo and cellulite. Now, cellulite is what happens when you get a bunch of dimples on the skin when there's an abundance of fat cells, and the fat sort of congeals to keep itself together. And we never saw an actual model of a fat person to see how that works. But if that's the case, that actually would be rather accurate to display an obese person. So to me, that's pretty cool. But I can't see that. And
just saying on the stream, I don't think people can see the entire picture.
Yeah, I know. It's the way that I capture the window, and because when you pop it up from the wonderful world of Twitter, it cuts off.
Okay.
So I can put links if you guys want to check it out. It's also in the BioWare channel. So I posted this I think yesterday.
Okay.
Anyway, let's get to the video.
Sorry for interrupting there.
That's okay. No, we've been talking about this for the past day anyway online. But if you haven't noticed, just go to Twitter and just search up Dragon Age. You'll find all kinds of shots there. Anyway, here is.
Don't look up Dragon Age on Twitter. Good lord, it's just sexual pictures.
It was last week. This week
Hawke,
it's okay.
Wait. So a question to Hawke. So you didn't see the woke shit in Inquisition at first, but only in retrospect. Now that it has blossomed.
No. What? I did see it. But it was during that. Remember, it's 2014. It's before woke became a thing. The issue is Inquisition allowed the lie to spread that Dragon Age has always been woke. When in reality, no, it wasn't. It's a dark fantasy that allowed numerous political ideologies to interact in the world and try to survive. Whereas now, from Inquisition to Veilguard, it is just everybody is gay communists. We all just have sex with each other. Oh, there's a few gods who want to kill us because there's always a new god somewhere. And that's it.
Inquisition was the foot in the door from which they then claim tradition. Because that's the funny thing that the socialists, communists do. They always want, we want change. Tradition, conservatism is bad. The moment they get things changed to their stuff, they suddenly argue from tradition that, it's always been this way and we need to keep it that way. And you must not change things away from the thing that we want.
Yeah, the way you know it changed is the depiction of the Canary. So in Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2, they're a very traditional religious group. They've got, the set gender roles. As Sten says to a female warden that he doesn't understand why she's fighting the Darkspawn, because women aren't warriors. There's no mention of we just see warriors as men. It's like no, men are the warriors. They're an ideology that is so alien to the rest of Thedas that people just can't understand it, which is an interesting concept. Then Inquisition comes along, and Iron Bull's just like, we all just have sex with each other, we're just gay, everyone just gets jerked off everywhere, and it's all wonderful.
Yeah,
and you're like,
right. Let's destroy the mystique with debauchery.
Yeah, with Sten, he specifically said women are farmers or traders. It's like, that's it. It's all they do.
Or part of the priesthood. Yeah, because they have that the third part of their people.
What a chill life.
And then it's also a bit like Sten mentions at the end of end of Origins about obviously the celebrations for defeating the Darkspawn, how he doesn't really understand what's happening for a celebration because there's very few of them in Canary Lands and stuff like that, apart from a really special occasion. And then in Inquisition, Iron Bull's like, we just have these big massive parades and have sex with each other. And it's like, oh, right. And now in Veilguard, it's like, oh, there's trans Kunari, and there's all this Kunari, and it's just like, okay,
Well,
the people who have taken over Dragon Age have inserted Californian democratic ideology into this group. And
yeah, that was present in Dragon Age 2 with Mark of the Assassin when they showed, was it Tila or whatever her name was?
Alice.
And she was explaining, we discover she's part of the Qun, but she's also this or that, and you're like, wait a second, that's not how the Qun operates. They don't accept you like that. They'll accept you, but not as what you are. So that's where the rewrite began, and we were like, that's not accurate. Like it could have been a lore change, but it wasn't like that big enough to say that, okay, maybe she's a special case because she's an assassin or whatever.
It's also the fact that she's pretty much classed as Talfa Shoff as well, right, by the Kunari.
Yeah. And
she's trying to get back into their good book, so of course she's not a great Kunari. It's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. But then Inquisition comes along, and Iron Bull is just like the most opposite of a Kunari, and then it's like, no, this is what Kunaris are like, and you're like, no. Yeah. I'm sorry, but no.
All right.
You've taken us a bit too far.
Let's get to the super chat, and then we'll get to the video. Here we go. Vladimir Dragunov, again, changing the wonderful topic. I was a part of Operation Grim Beeper. Okay. All right.
I bet the original name is not that funny.
Oh, let's not find out and start with the video. It's an 11-minute video of the gameplay of a certain part of the Veilguard. You guys might have already seen it, but we'll check it out right now. Here we go.
For this one.
Still can't believe it. The wardens are...
So when I saw this...
This is a circus troupe. This is not as stupid as some adventurer groups look. This is not one of them. This is a circus group.
Something is very odd with the color scheme of these characters. The stature of these characters. It feels like you're watching a Saturday morning cartoon show, and they're going to go solve a Scooby sort of mystery. Like they're just sort of on
this
Halloween.
This looks like a bad over the top Dungeons and Dragons dress up crew.
Like I see no warriors here. I might be a mage. It seems very awkward, and I don't know what this team can possibly do. Like they don't look powerful.
They're almost all of them also have posture damage.
Oh yeah.
They're all leaning forward. They all have a hunchback, except for the black African elf. However, that makes sense. The blue thing left of him, and maybe the person to his right.
Yeah, the person on the right.
Everybody, the four characters to the left.
Yeah, the person on the right.
For wait. The guy in the dress, he's also having a weird posture.
The person on the right doesn't have a proper leg. I think it's a peg leg, and the person on the left is a female Kunari, whatever, dragon hunter.
Oh yeah.
Why is the Kunari blue? Why is the Kunari blue?
Armor choice. I have no idea. Everything looks weird. It's so colorful.
This literally looks like a special needs class.
Yeah. Everyone needs to be super special.
They don't look like brave adventurers, do they? I mean, what's her name? Neve, is it? Who's got the peg leg? Looks like she's so meek and humble and like, oh, I don't know what we're going to do. It's like, oh my god.
With a university hat.
There's something weird about... I don't know.
Is that Harding, that dwarf?
That's Harding, yeah. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Her voice actor. Something's off with her voice actor. Not that the voice is like they chose is bad. Her lines are very dull. Like she's very like da 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 da, and I'm like, you're a detective. You're supposed to be this genius, and you're an ice time mage or something. You should have like this powerful, commanding, not sinister, but just like this cool voice. And she's like da 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 da, and I'm like, this is the boring voice you have for a detective in a game about fighting gods. I'm like, it doesn't quite fit. I also didn't like the voice of the assassin guy. He felt a bit not flamboyant, but just sort of not like Zevran was just right on. The voice was like just what you want. A guy who's sort of joking about, semi-serious, but very deadly. It's like, yeah.
But they always try and kill you.
Yeah, it was fun. And he was flirting with you. He's fun flirting. He's like, that made perfect sense why his sexuality was the way it was. He has a whole backstory where he grew up and why. Everything made sense. Here, everyone's just into each other. And I'm like, even if I was, imagine you were, okay, bisexual or whatever you want to call pansexual, whatever that means. None of these people really are very attractive.
No.
No.
To be honest with you, I've walked through fields and what's been on my shoes look better.
It's the only thing they're honest about, because their self-inserts need to be as ugly as them, and nobody is allowed to be prettier than them because their egos can't take that.
You know something? You mentioned Zevran, Smod. It just makes me think there's a line in Dragon Age 2 where he meets Hawke, and he just goes, I don't know why people seem to think they can take on people like you and the Warden. And Hawke just responds, yeah, it's a burden I bear on a daily basis. And it's just like, two simple lines makes you realise these two people know what they're doing, they're badasses. There's no, like, Marvel humour and stuff like that. In this, it's just like, oh my god, we're so meek, we've got to try and pretend to be cocky shits. And none of them make you think these people are badasses who can handle themselves.
Yeah, as dumb as the plot was and the character choices in Dragon Age 2, at least Hawke was serious. And he was going to protect his family. He was going to kill dragons. He was going to he was serious. Like, okay, this guy could do some damage. These
characters in this group, they look like a bunch of random NPC nobles on the marketplace in town. They don't look like player characters.
That's insulting to the random nobles who are NPCs.
Yeah, but it fits with the stupid clothes. Think of any Baldur's Gate group that you have. Yeah, they may have some magical armor or something, but they still look like normal people. They still look... everything about these is over-designed. Overly gaudy. And it just doesn't work.
All right.
None of it looks Dragon Age.
The gods are
the boots
it doesn't feel Dragon Age.
Left. It's just silly.
All right. Well, the setup of this story is they're attacking Wysop. I think that was in the first game. You went to Wysop?
No, Wysop is the main Warden fortress in the Anderfels. Hawke goes there if he survives an Inquisition. Oh. There's meant to be, it's where most of the Wardens are, so they're going to try and make out that the most heavily guarded place of the Wardens, who are one of the greatest fighting forces that's ever existed, need to be saved by the literal Chuckle Brothers.
All right, here we go.
Straight for the throat. Unless we cut theirs first.
Just get me close enough.
Who's Frode?
So, are they just using the exact same icons from Inquisition?
Just rewind that. Yeah, looks like it.
Wow, so they just reused the assets of Inquisition for their fucking dialogue.
Yeah.
9 years.
Don't change anything.
9 years.
If it works, it's great. But honestly, Inquisition didn't really do anything.
9
like,
years.
Like me and you have said, obviously with Dragon Age 2, at least with the sarcastic, diplomatic, and aggressive, it meant something.
I do remember.
Like, it built a...
they said in an interview that you can initiate romance without choosing the romance option in dialogue. So that when you have a romance option in Inquisition, there's a heart thing that pops up. Apparently, you can it can initiate without the heart. So you're like,
oh. So what's the point of the fucking heart then?
I'm not sure. Maybe it's just naturally flirty. I don't know how that works. They would have to explain the system, so I don't know. But the thing is, everyone can do this, so it's like I don't know what the hell. How relationships are going
I don't know how to pronounce his name in chat. Odan87. I don't like how they made the Wardens progressively dumber with each game. They made it dumber because they literally don't like that people prefer the Warden over every other hero that they create. That's the only reason they do it. They absolutely despise the fact that everyone really likes the hero for Eldon.
And you brought up another piece of the pattern, I believe, because Galactica, which was 6 years in development to copy a game that was 2 years in development, they copied most of their spaghetti code from War for the Overworld, which is why Galactica runs so bloody bad, and copied the game mechanics from the game they copied, 2 Point Hospital, with less of them. So they copied, but badly, from themselves and from those that they imitated. And while taking longer to make the game and being funded, I think this is a pattern of fraud here going on. In this case, it's internal, that they only copy from themselves. But it's just this is corpse flaying. This is the last movements of these companies before they shut down, because they're so infested with this ideology and with these incompetent people.
All right.
So Dragon Age is already dead.
Wisp, hold on.
What we see here is an animated corpse.
Mm-hmm. Before we move on, someone just asked the question, obviously, what happened to the Grey Warden from Origins? He or she was sent to a far-off distant land looking for a cure to the calling, because otherwise they'd have no excuse for him not to be, or him or her, to be there to solve the Corypheus problem. So they just made up an excuse and just sent him off somewhere. To the far-off reaches.
Poochie goes home to his own planet.
Yeah, which also implies that because they're not bringing Hawke back in this game, they're also not bringing Loghain back or any of the other optional characters that could have fought the Dream Spider demon in the Fade. So, yeah, forget a lot of the main characters from the first game.
Yeah.
Whatever you do,
I always collect.
Who gets to tell the first warden we're dropping in?
I was hoping to skip that part.
They got an alluvian in storage down in the vault. It was a gift from the Dalish.
Ours should go right to it. Probably. I think.
Let's get to it then. We sneak into Weiss House,
Peak
nice
voice
and
acting.
quiet. No one sees us.
Did you see the lip syncing? It's a bit off. Something's a bit off with this.
The entire voice acting is so flat and dead, and it doesn't like, this is a flowing conversation. This should have been recorded as one conversation with all the voice actors in the room, but they again did this garbage of recording everyone separately, not even knowing how the other people sound when they talk, and so each voice actor doesn't even know what the correct emotional response is in the sound. It's jarring. How many millions do you spend on this to fuck up the voice acting? Is it so hard to do that right? Japan can get it right. Why can't you?
Yeah.
Antoine and Evka. We look around
Well
for
said.
Antoine and Evka.
Was there a plan after that?
Take out a god. End this today.
That's the plan. We're going to teleport to this
Peak writing.
massive fortress and fight a god. We don't know how or with what weapons or anything. We're just going to go there and kill a god somehow.
Peak writing.
This is the plot of whatever plot point this is happening in the story, apparently near the end because you have your whole team. And even the genius detective's like, so we're not going to have a plan? Nope. We're not going to have a plan.
Creativity involves creation.
I hate
Evil cannot create, it can only steal and corrupt. That's what this is.
I like how it's just take out a god to end this today. It's like, right, okay, so we're just rehashing Inquisition. Cool.
You know what?
Okay.
You can put this line just before the final fight, if you must. As like, yeah, get the morale up. Yeah, we gotta kill the thing. The plan is set. Everything, all the intricacies are set. All the traps and the weakenings and whatever you do. okay, here's the morale boost. No, this is the setup of the game. And you have no plan? That's not a plan, that's a goal.
This is making Shepard's speech in Mass Effect 2 seem like an amazing war-worthy speech of, let's get our people back. They hit us, we hit harder back.
Yeah, and
this is miles ahead of take out a god.
Yeah, this is a thing you always see with the useful ignoramuses, the left, all these activists. They never have a plan. They only have goals, and they think having a goal is a plan. Mm-hmm. And that's why they just run forward into whatever it is, and then cause mayhem.
And the plot just develops them, gives them an opportunity to solve the problem. Yeah. It's hilarious as you keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So
you mean like the portal just suddenly stabilized?
Yeah, Morrigan apparently must have done that because no one else could have done this.
I'm glad we got told it was a blacksmith storage.
This isn't the
Thank God for that.
Oh crap! They moved the alluvian.
You know, I just want to say, I would not feel comfortable walking through a portal that has these black irregularities there. I might like lose a kidney or something.
And considering how bad the Alluvions have been shown in the previous games, it's just like you don't really want to be going through them. But who cares about previous game lore?
Yeah, I mean it looks nice, but I wouldn't want to go walk through it. It like maybe as a screensaver or an artificial window, but I'm not gonna go through something where I end up with less limbs. Ugh.
I was thinking of the Malps from Stargate. You know, the probes that they send out every time a new gate opens, so no one dies.
Yeah,
it's like maybe we should like have a canary or something. Have it fly back with a little string and just pull it.
Why don't we just send the most unlikable person? But Rook, you've sent the entire squad. Yeah, that's telling you something.
Oh boy! Wasn't there a joke in Dragon Age Inquisition with Morrigan and the Crossroads, where a lot of the Alluvians just go nowhere? You just die, something like that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because it's there's so many that have been corrupted, but there's only like a couple that are working. And isn't it lucky that in the Veilguard we've got a person who jumps through them constantly, and she happens to be a small Asian elf.
Yeah. This is what really messes me up. It's an Asian half elf or whatever the hell. Were there ever Asians in Dragon Age? I'm trying to think. I can't remember.
No.
Like that specific look, like that skin type, that face type. I can't remember that.
You can. No, there isn't.
Black for sure. Yeah, we got those guys. All kinds.
Black is. The only coloured people are Ravani. And it's just a bit like. The issue is when Dragon Age was first created, it's based around European, the medieval period in Europe. So you got Ferelden, which is Anglo-Saxon, Orlais, which is Normans and French. The Three Marches, which are based on the German city-states and stuff like that, which are all obviously quite white and European. The only thing that's like foreign is obviously, well, you can't even say Tevinter, because Tevinter is based upon the Byzantine Empire and with sprinklings of the British Empire. So no, when they set it all up, there wasn't much colour. And as it's gone on, they've gone, oh, we need more colour, so we're now just going to make everyone black and brown.
Yeah, I always make the mix-up whenever I talk of the voice actor for Tuvok playing Zathrian. My brain goes, oh yeah, it's Tuvok. He played a black elven Star Trek character. Like, no. Zathrian's a white dude.
Yeah, quite, yeah.
But it's Tuvok's voice, so my brain goes, oh no, that's not right.
Well, it's like when Michael Dorn voiced that Krogan, and I just went, oh, that's a black Krogan.
Right.
Like, no, it's not. They're not.
Yeah, that's funny. That's a mirror, right?
Yep.
That would break.
Why did that even still stand there?
Sorry. Catch it when you can.
Don't spawn outside.
That is this
Meryl,
annoying, quirky humor.
I'm sorry, just pausing that. Meryl broke an illuvion with her staff. Not like using magic, just like hit it with a wooden staff.
Yeah. And this thing fell 3 stories with all this gigantic wall in front of it, just like slammed at the ground. It's like, yeah, that's done.
It also stood there all this time. No problem.
Darkspawn in Weishaupt?
Just outside the door.
Stay out of sight.
Mila.
Oh my god.
Mila is a random little girl that just came out of nowhere, and you're just like, yeah, whatever.
I've also just realised I can understand why they've got rid of the ability to play as other your companions. In other games, you needed to take a rogue at least with you to unlock chests because of lock picking skills. So, say if you were a warrior, it meant that you were never like locked out of stuff. This character's just picking up random stuff that's glowing on the floor.
So the problem I see with this narrative is that there's this character, this little girl in this violent scenario, and she's just randomly talking to you as if you know her, or we're supposed to know her, or she know. Like, it's very odd to have children in a game, and especially in Dragon Age where they were pretty, either dead or about to die. And this is just like, oh, there's a random person who's a little girl who's just telling us about danger, and she's following us along, and we're like, yeah, this is normal.
Yeah.
Sit tight, Mila. We'll be back.
The Maker curse you!
Clear him out.
My husks from Mass Effect.
Not enough UI on the
Don't let
screen.
them near the girl!
Oh, they have abilities now.
My job's done. Your turn.
Yeah, so always dodge. Get in, do something, and then dodge away. You'd think a person with a shield would use it to be a tank and just tank hits.
Well, that got them.
At least it wasn't.
You know your Darkspawn.
My dad's a blaster for the Wardens.
This more reminds me as if you play third-person Diablo.
Oh, this is quite. It's making me fully believe my theory that they've just grabbed whatever they could get. This was definitely meant to be an online game to begin with. This was never meant to be single player. You've got boxes to break and stuff's just lying around. You know, this is just clearly an online game. They've gone, shit, we've got to make a single player game.
I do recall Inquisition, you had to bring one of each class in order to do all the things. All the things not all the things, but the optional things you wanted to do. So that was like, okay, you're forcing it's like with Mass Effect, you're forcing someone to come in with tech skills and hack stuff. Great, okay, give us a reason. I don't mind that. Here it's just, doesn't matter. Just come on.
But when the main character's clearly doing all of the stuff, especially in a game like Dragon Age, where, as I said before, you used to have a lot picking skills with rogues, and so you always had to bring at least a rogue with you, and it kept you having quite a balanced team. And everything with this, it's just like, well, you don't need the lock picking skill because it's just on the floor, or you just hit a box open.
Yeah,
like, right,
with the
okay.
mage, they had fade fire or some sort of torch they could carry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the warriors could break a wall, I think. Was it something like that?
Yeah. And then the warriors could use they had a chain which could bring enemies closer, and you could use that chain to break stuff down.
Yeah, that chain never worked properly in actual combat, as I saw.
No, God, no, it didn't.
It's like, bring him closer.
You'd be there throwing a chain into nothing. You'd be like, oh, okay, I guess I'll just hit you with my sword.
Yeah.
We're here to help. Do you know Antoine and Evka?
Probably in the war room. I can show you.
Great walk cycle there.
It's like the model is about to fall apart.
Oh no! The door's blocked!
Oh no! That's great.
Is there another way?
A secret passage! Come on!
What door?
Yeah, she walked like 1 meter. Oh my god, the doors! It's like you couldn't see it when you stopped there for 5 seconds. That's great. Doop-de-doop-de-doo. Following a little girl.
He walks like a broken doll.
Damn.
That's Commander Janos, one of our best.
He went down fighting.
Well, he went down.
Right.
Mila, when did the Darkspawn attack?
Just a while ago. They started climbing the walls.
You
She
should
seems
stay
very
here.
unfazed.
I can't. I need to find my dad.
There's worse than Darkspawn on the way.
And walls won't hold it back.
Hold on, was that Darkspawn? Then they were fighting.
Yeah,
Those
what's his
laptops
name was saying that
reacting to
Mila
one
was a
another.
darkspawn. So it's like, what? Mila's a darkspawn?
I haven't got a clue. All I know is this gameplay is just copy and pasted from Inquisition. It's just like you've got less of the tactics of Inquisition.
No shields.
So
yeah.
So I'm telling you now, guys. This game, when it gets released, once the shells have got their original, obviously is an amazing game out the way, and people actually, well, the few people who buy it actually play it. Everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, this is just copy and pasted from the last game. It adds nothing new," and it's going to be a massive, massive disappointment.
All right. Here is a thread knot for the 5. Thank you, sir. The more I see of this, the happier I feel, knowing how badly it's going to flop. It's going to flop harder than a Magikarp. You know, we thought Inquisition was going to flop, or at least not sell very well, and it sold amazingly well. And I don't know if that was because of marketing.
That still had like the Force Awakens bonus. People still didn't know how bad it would be.
Okay.
People thought it was better than Dragon Age 2, so...
Oh, but that's not... I mean, the bar is kind of at the ground there. So.
No, but that's the issue. They went, oh, this is not Dragon Age 2, so everyone bought it. Also, The Witcher 3 wasn't out yet, so people used it until they got to that point.
Yeah, why not?
So
buy a mediocre game, or at least a filler game, to get to the real game, yeah.
And did I have some lag here, or did these characters talking not even interact with each other? Like they were all talking different conversations.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's that Nev voice actor. She sounds not droll, but there's something about where she just doesn't sound like she's there.
No, she was talking her stuff, and then now she needs to find her dad. And the other character talks about something completely different and ignores that. Well, hey, you have a terrified child here. Like, oh no, talk about something else. There's no interaction here.
Yeah.
There's no real atmosphere. There's no party. There's nothing.
Yeah, it's some of it's been lacking since Dragon Age 2 with party interactions. It does feel that, especially Inquisition and obviously so far the gameplay I've seen of this, the characters just seem to have set lines that they say.
It's as if they play at random. It's if it's not really pre-written dialogue, but it's just lines that are randomly triggered.
You have to remember the 4 voice actors for Rook are going to have their own inclinations, and I don't know which one they would consider the base, like the American English or the UK English, or male or female. So maybe that might play into it. I'm not sure. It always sounded weird whenever you chose a Canary in Inquisition, and male or female. It always felt like that's a bit off. Yes, let's go fight that god in the sky. That's a great plan with a sword.
Just throw a brick at the sky face.
Yeah, that'll do it.
I will the power of light. Right, okay.
Finest child of the
Like, look how is this a city or is this like what is this place? It's gigantic. Like this castle is enormous.
Well, it's meant to be Weishaupt, the first Warden fortress. So it's never been like described in the games, but it should be almost impenetrable by anything. So.
So we have pretty much the second coming of the Blight since the first game because it's literally an archdemon. So you're like, oh, we're dead. We're all gonna die.
That's
So I like this. You can knock people off the cliff. That's pretty cool.
What's wrong?
Wardens! We can sense an archdemon. I can hear the calling.
No, that's not. No, that's not what the calling is. That's not. Oh.
That's not how the Force works.
No, yeah. When you get an archdemon, you don't go, "Oh, that's my calling." No, you just can sense the archdemon. The calling is when the taint of the darkspawn blood you drink gets too much, and you realise you're going to turn into a ghoul. So what you do is you go into the deep roads to kill as many darkspawn as possible before you die or turn to a ghoul. The calling is not. Oh, there's an archdemon nearby. Oh my god, that's supposedly a warding character saying this. What the fuck is this?
Maybe he's one of the newbies.
That is what they get. But you get told that in Dragon Age Origin, and you are the newest of newbies.
You got the wrong pamphlet from like last year. They forgot to update.
Yeah. Oh no, you've got the 9 Dragon 32 pamphlet. You need the 931, man. Good lord.
They have to change it because.
How can you fuck up? Like literally, how can you fuck up what the calling is? It gets repeated in nearly every single fucking game, and in this one, they're like, "Oh, I can hear my calling because of the archdemon." What the fuck is wrong with you?
I think it's proof that these craptivists are always tourists, and that even when they have the official stamp for something to make something have control over the company, all they do is, in this case, this game is then LARPing. It's not Dragon Age, it's LARPing as Dragon Age, and it's badly LARPing as Dragon Age. Yeah.
This is wearing the skin suit of Dragon Age.
Yeah, it's like they got the Cole's Notes version of Dragon Age, and they're like, "Oh, I know what the calling is. Yeah, I got that. That's when someone hears the call from the whatever Darkspawn to go that there's Darkspawn nearby." Like, what?
The writers of this game never played Dragon Age.
Also, the thing as well is the calling isn't from the archdemon and everything like that. It's the blighted lyrium. It's the actual blight. It's not the blighted lyrium, but it's the actual blight, not the archdemon, that does the calling. So, and even the wardens learn about it because once they find red lyrium and realise that that's blighted lyrium, and they're still getting a calling from it, they realise it's not the old gods doing stuff. It's the actual whatever makes the blight. So him saying, "Oh yeah, the calling is when we can hear the archdemon." It's like you not even listened to what Inquisition told you.
Yeah, this is one of the plot points in Inquisition where you have to go fight whatever they were being. It was an artificial calling, I think, and it was that weird French lady who was in charge of the warden. She was being fooled by the
Clarel.
Yeah. And she was being fooled by the Antiva dude and
Emius or something.
Right, like that was like everyone thought, "Oh, we got to do this," because they felt it in their blood. And you're like, "Oh, okay, fine."
All the wardens of life heard their calling to go down to the deep roads. They didn't hear an archdemon; they just heard the calling to go down into things. So that's why they wanted to bind with demons, so that they could march into the deep roads with an army of demons and wipe out the Darkspawn.
Okay.
That was the plan of Inquisition. I'm sorry, it sounds stupid saying it.
I know, it's a slight technicality, but you got to get it right. And say, just say, I can sense the Darkspawn. That's all they have to say in this scenario. Yeah. It's a very strong feeling. I was like, okay, great, good.
Don't worry about me.
Sideways.
One thing at a time. For now, let's not die out here.
Quirky dialogue.
At least Nev is like, you're crazy. Our plan, whatever it was, is over. So our assassin can't do his job. It's like, okay.
And the rest is quirky, self-aware dialogue.
Yeah, but this is the part where you go retreat because you don't have a plan. You don't just keep going. You have nothing to do. Like, how do we fight a guy in the sky? I had no idea. Okay, well.
I love that. Darkspawn breach the wall. There's a lot of Darkspawn. Can Vice help to hold? Bitch, this held during the first Blight. This is where they turned the Blight around. This is where humanity literally defeated, like, pure evil for the first time. Stop making everything so... Stop making the Wardens the weakest of the weak. They are not.
But then we can't have a plot.
We got to show off
because
how
we can't
strong...
write anything new. We don't know how to. We are not creative. We only steal and corrupt.
Wouldn't it be great if all the Wardens were like, we got this under control. We're good. And then you come in and is like, are you sure? And then something bad happens and you have to help everyone out. Like, that'd be like, okay, great. We got more help. We thought...
Let's put it this way. The hero for Elden literally walks into a room and ancient evils go, now listen, right, I really, really want to apologise. I didn't know you were involved. That's one guy, right? You've got 10,000 odd Grey Wardens here who've done an equal amount of stuff. It's like, okay, they're not going to be an easy pushover. Literally, in Inquisition, the Inquisition go, oh, can we actually fight the Grey Wardens? Because, let's put it this way, they're the best fighting force. Obviously, they can beat them really easily because, well...
Hawke, don't you see the giant hole in the ground?
There shouldn't be giant holes in the ground. This was built to... Well, whatever.
Yeah. All right, here's another super chat from Turmoil. Wasn't a fear demon the reason for Grey Warden spaz? Are you referring to Inquisition?
In Inquisition, no, what happened is Corypheus made a deal with a thing called the Nightmare Demon. So what the Nightmare Demon did was enhance the fear that Wardens have of their calling, to the point where they all believe they were having the call-in. So that's what caused it. So it was, the nightmare creature. I mean, or nightmare demon, or whatever it is.
And somehow Palpa Blight returned.
Yeah.
Right.
I hate the fact that I know all this information, and inside me it hurts to say it.
Trying to remember Inquisition is not the most pleasant experience, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Down there.
It's never fallen before, and it won't today.
That's a stupid move.
I got the above her head. Is that the yellow and red from like Arkham series to like dodge?
I think it's the angle that something's attacking you, like the line points to where it's coming from. I'm not sure. It could be the Arkham thing. I don't know.
Because it goes yellow to red, and it looks like that's what you do to dodge.
Time slowed down.
And like,
yeah.
Oh Jesus
Christ!
It's the Arkham thing, pretty much. Probably. Yeah.
This combat looks lame. For saying, oh, we focus this on the combat because it's so high octane, and then I'm sorry, this looks lame as hell.
It's not horrible, but it's nothing I haven't seen before. Really, it's nothing special.
Yeah.
It does not look like the mainstay of your game. This looks like, oh yeah, we have combat in the game so that we can get you from story bit to story bit.
Yeah, I don't mind that she's like an axe-wielding person who dodges around, but I want to see the shield. I want to see her like tank a hit and like defend people, and then people come in and take advantage of that. Like it doesn't matter if you don't have a shield. Then what's the difference?
The thing is, what's the difference? What's the difference between this gameplay and the Rogue gameplay? Because both have played exactly the same, jumping around and rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
what's the difference?
But the thing is, even more important, what the story just said. You know why this is the worstest thing ever? It's the final blight. All the others, they were just warming up. This is the final one.
Well, if you have a god who can just create archdemons, it's like, this is getting stupid. Okay, what are we gonna do with it?
I love how before obviously gameplay and stuff was leaked, they literally went, Veilguard's going to be not as end of the world as Inquisition. We're going to scale it back and make it more personal, almost like obviously Dragon Age 2. And they literally came out, oh no, you've got to take on 2 elven gods who can literally create blights and literally destroying everything. Hang on, that's more. Okay.
It's like we have a Death Star in episode 5, but now we have 2 Death Stars. You're like, wait a second, what do you do?
Why would you Death Planet?
No, Smud. It's why have like a moon when you can just have an entire fleet of ships that shoot Death Star lasers?
Yeah, because we put the entire Death Star technology within 20 years into one tiny cannon.
I just love the fact that you could say, why one blight? How about just archdemons with blights attached to them, and they can shoot blights off in different directions?
What was the fucking point of Illum if you had this technology or on the back burner building this fleet? What?
Also, the thing is, you never say about the final blight. Well, what happened to the 6th and 7th blight? Because there were still 6 and 7. There's still 2 more old gods to find.
Yeah, was it every 1,000 or every 100 years there was a new blight? I can't remember.
No, it changes because the first 4 were quite close together. Then it was 400 years between the 4th and the 5th blight. So it just depends.
All right.
On when the Darkspawn find the next archdemon.
Could you move any slower? This bouncy ball attack looks so horrible.
Yeah, oh my god, it is the Arkham stuff.
It feels like a thief class, but she's a warrior. It's kind of strange.
Not one of the attacks or skills she's used look like it's a warrior class.
Knock him down.
Yeah, the other person they're using is using warrior stuff. Oh my god, it is the Arkham of dodging and stuff. That's it's fucking wow.
I'm not seeing any tactics here, just mobs.
It's just button mashing.
And just dodge, jump in, dodge again. Oh, someone blocked something, huh?
I don't see too much dodging from whoever's playing it.
I see about 3 or 4 potions being used. There's a block. Okay, good. Fine, we got a block going.
Hey.
That's all I wanted. Person with the shield uses the shield. Good.
You'll be safe there.
I need to find my dad. Good luck.
Archdemons attacking the north wall.
Signal a retreat. Fall back to the trap.
Can't see the signal fires through the smoke.
Try the horn.
Oh, here's the uniforms I'm on about.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, that's weird.
Why are Grey Wardens wearing stuff that looks like it? Why has he got medals on his chest?
Yeah, was that from Kalen? Who gave him those medals? How old is this guy?
Well, and also, why is he wearing a trench coat?
Where's all
why
the
is he
armor?
wearing a trench coat?
Where's all the armor and shields and the helmets and why aren't you guys armored up? What's going on here?
Why are they trying to get a vibe of the Wardens are some sort of mid-century European
with muskets?
Yeah. But don't you see at no other point in any of the games, and bear in mind, as they put, this is a 952 dragon, so it's only less than 10 years after Inquisition. So the Wardens have gone from a blue type of chainmail armor to trench coats in 10 years.
This feels like a scene from Star Wars or something. Everyone's just different looking, different clothing.
It feels like I'm watching Space Marines.
It's very different. Yeah, it feels off. Here's the seventh blight. Would be the final blight, since blights are led by archdemons, and there were only 7 dragons to infect and turn into archdemons. Was that? I think Inquisition had 12 dragons. What was it again? I can't remember the number.
Oh no. So the old gods, Dumont, Ezekiel, and stuff like that, Belamont or whatever it is, were the old Tevinter gods. There were 7 of them, and they took the shape of dragons, I think, and obviously they're buried deep under the ground. And obviously, the Darkspawn are called to them, and they infect them with the blight, and that starts blight, and that starts the blight. The 12 dragons, I think, in Inquisition is they just gave you 12 to kill. So,
all right,
that's all I know.
The Archdemon's too loud.
No one's retreating.
There's no choice, sir. We're under siege. We have to fall back to the dragon trap.
Forget the trap.
So this is what I don't understand. So they've had this dragon trap, which I assume was built during the first blight, and it's an actual structure. It's not like a movable thing, like it's a weapon you could pick up and haul around like a catapult. It's a part of the castle. For a flying, hey, let's all get the flying creature to land in this giant whatever so we could trap it there or something like that. It's a bit unbelievable. So
I want to know why the first Warden hasn't got Warden armor on either.
What is that? Yeah, I've never seen that armor before. Again, I don't know what these regalia represent, but we've had Warden armor all throughout the games. They've been pretty much consistent. This is very different. I've never seen it before. So, maybe there's a story behind there. I don't like it when they change things that much. This is over the top, I think. That pauldron is huge.
Mm-hmm.
To Commander Janos, rally outside the wall.
Janos is dead.
Rook, what are you doing here?
I'm here because you didn't listen.
We're about to see a scene where every single minority person tells the white man how wrong he is. You literally could not have more minorities in a room with one singular person being the bad guy as the first Warden being the only white man there.
Is it just me? Does everyone look really small? Everyone's 5'2" or something.
For some reason, everyone looks really small, and then the first Warden looks like he's 12'6".
Yeah.
But now we're literally about to watch.
Their heads are really big. I don't know what's going on here. And then you got this guy on the right whose head's small, but his body's small, and I'm just what is it's wider than everything else. How tall are these people? And is that? I'm assuming that's a custom piece of armor because it doesn't look like Warden armor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now it's too late.
For you it is.
Better than what Janos got. What about all the other wardens?
Arrest them.
No, you need to listen to them. We are under attack by a god.
Do you hear yourself?
What the fuck is that?
It's a French elven warden, I think.
No, but it's not just that. Why has he got a fucking quiff? What is this?
They're all the same height. I thought this man was tall, but they're all like speaking at eye level now.
Elves aren't the same height as humans either. So what's he doing? What is the?
Yeah, they're svelte.
Oh
they're tall and thin, or usually shorter and thin. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
No such thing. Stop finding excuses to be a coward. We'll stop the enemy outside the walls.
The enemy?
Oh, so now the wardens don't wear actual warden armor.
Yeah, it's just random.
What the fuck is that?
Random plate mail. I don't know what that is. They changed the design again. Yeah.
What? Sorry, Spud, but this game is so clearly just a skin suit. This is not Dragon Age.
Random models, random textures. I mean, it looks good. Look at all the lighting. It's fantastic. But the hair, I noticed her hair moves a bit when she talks and moves her head. So there's lots of mocap here. There's
they did that in Dragon Age 2. Calm down.
No, but it looks real. Like, this is what I'm saying. Even if we know the story is going to be a pile of nonsense, and we know the dialogue's pretty ridiculous, and the scenarios don't make too much sense, if you're just going into this blind, and you're like, it's a generic fantasy thing and babob and people talk. This looks pretty good. So this is the surface level interpretation of these journalists, and they're going to evaluate the visuals, the audio, the voice acting. I don't know how they're going to do the voice acting. It's kind of off. It's not great.
They're going to love the small heads, big bodies, the strange heights.
Yeah, I can't tell anyone's height. They're all just sort of on the level. And I'm like, I don't get it. We just saw that Saturday morning cartoon pose. Everyone was like all over the place.
And now they're all standing next to each other, same height.
Eye level, yeah.
The window.
Grey Wardens don't hide in our castle. I won't ask good soldiers to turn tail and run.
So now he's tall.
We're an army of steel, holding back the blight.
So why is everyone in different uniforms?
Yeah.
The Wardens have a uniform. Also, why has that guy got a GoPro on his head, on top of his helmet, that Warden?
Well.
What the fuck is... What is he? What are these designs? Oh, man, I'm being honest with you, this has clearly just been hashed together as quickly as they could.
If you remember Duncan's design in Origins, it was it was a half plate, I think, with some chainmail.
Yeah. But the reason behind that is because Ferelden didn't have actual Grey Wardens until very recently, so they had to make do with what they could find. And that's why you have all the different stuff. But everywhere else that has Wardens set up, they have the exact same uniform. So in Weishaupt, they should have the exact same uniforms because that's their fucking main base.
Well, I do remember when you're fighting them in Inquisition, there was all kinds of Wardens all over the place. You actually had to kill them to get past certain levels. So, yeah, they clearly have a uniform. Full metal.
Yep.
Order every blade out of Weishaupt.
We'll all die, sir.
That's an order, Warden.
So here we go. Let's be reasonable, or, well, I tried talking. Knock the first Warden out and take charge. That's not going to go over too well.
You'll be surprised.
Yeah, it's like, here's the pecking order. This guy's number uno, and you're like this random person. Not going to look good.
Can't say I didn't try.
Bellara greatly disapproves. Isn't she the happy-go-lucky fade jumper chick?
I don't know. I don't give a two flying tosses.
Yeah. Like, wait a second. Wouldn't the Warden guy on your team be pissed off?
No, I think everyone apart from her greatly approves what you do here. So, like, but I just love the fact that they've just knocked.
Yeah,
they've made the one white guy the bad guy who deserves to be punched.
Yeah, the dude who's like ready to go kill someone just gets knocked the hell out by some chick, like a sucker punch. You're like, what?
Yeah, I also like the way that, like you were saying, that the height changed. He was standing over until she needed to punch him, at which point she could just easily hit him square in the face. At level with him.
I think my eyes are playing tricks on me, or I don't understand the camera angles very well. Something is off.
Also, I've noticed that when they start getting really close up, the faces look very cartoonish.
Well, that's okay. I don't mind that.
No, but as in, like, no, I almost have like a 2D like texture over them. Like in Fortnite and everything.
I think
it's almost like a 2, unless it's the lighting.
Yeah,
not fully.
When we talk about representative art and doing that in video games, it's always been the best example. Has always been a caricature or things where a style is consistent as opposed to doing hyperrealism. Because hyperrealism always goes to the uncanny valley, or we didn't have the tech to make it look good in real time. Now we have the tech to do both properly. And this it's got a blend of it. It's got it's hyper realistic lighting, and then you combine that with this cartoony, like the big eyes, the big chins, the big ears, and it feels like a blend of the two. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but there's a certain sort of it's off. Like this is off, not an uncanny valley, but it's on the spectrum. It's somewhere in between, and I don't know what that's called. So
someone just mentioned how does this scene work if you're a dwarf?
Oh yeah, you're super tiny. You're like a head shorter.
Look at the 5 seconds. Your legs extend.
Yeah, the camera angles like it cuts off his head because you can't even see it because he's so short. He has to like punch up like on his tippy toes.
just come down here.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a haymaker. Can you like step on your knees? That'd be great.
You just watch a dwarf try and climb up a table, just struggling to get his leg up.
Body slam this guy in the head.
Yeah.
Look at that size of these pauldrons. What the hell are you gonna do?
I just love the fact that it's just one punch, but also I know I've seen this last little bit that pretty much everyone greatly approves what you do here. And it's like, right, okay.
Can't say I didn't try.
Everyone's like, what the fuck? Excuse me. But they're so enthusiastic. Oh no, our leader.
Oh no.
Don't
do that. We liked him.
No! Listen to Rook. That's an order.
Well, no, she just beat the shit out of our number one leader. We're going to put her in chains or kill her. What do you think? As he ordered to put her in chains before. Oy. So Emmerich disapproved. He's the necromancer dude.
Oh. But he's a white guy, so of course.
Yeah, exactly. The white guy disapproves.
He's like this. So white guys can just get punched and everyone likes it. Yeah. I'm white.
But everyone else except the Asian elf chick also disapproves.
Yeah.
It's great. I have no idea what that means.
Every single. But remember when, like, in Inquisition, where it was like, Blackwall greatly approves, and it's like, but what does it mean? There's no, like, level to see where he's at. I don't know what. Oh, he likes that. I don't know. Does he?
Yeah. Are we banging next time? I don't know. Does he care I beat up his boss? Like, I don't think so.
But it's also a bit like, what bonuses does it get me? Oh, absolutely nothing. Oh, does it open any more dialogue? Nope. Does it mean anything? Well, you had, like, relationship stuff in previous games. Yes, on a meter that told me where I was with that person.
It could be a completely situational flag that is like, it says it approves, but it doesn't really mean anything. They'll only care about the event. That could be a great thing, but we don't know.
Okay, Rook. I assume you have a plan.
No, absolutely not.
I love the fact that
Skyface.
I love the fact that she came and punched the guy. It was like, I assume you have a plan. No, I don't actually. That was my plan. Punch the white guy. Anyway, good luck with this face in the sky.
You see, if the story actually established that Rook's this genius, or at least knows something that the other don't, and she's gonna like, I need to knock this guy out to explain this big important information so you guys can follow me, then we would be like, oh, justified, makes sense. But we just saw like 10 minutes ago, they have no idea what they're doing.
No, it's we take down a god. This ends today. That's our plan. Yeah. Anyway, punch this white guy. What? Nothing.
Yeah, and Spanish elf guy is going to use a dagger to cut the god's neck in the sky.
Oh, I love the fact that the guy's going to use a dagger to stab the flying face in the sky.
And thankfully, Nev actually makes a joke about this. I do appreciate the self-awareness, at least of some character in the story. Is like, how the hell are we going to stop that thing? Like, come on. So
there was one writer in the room going, "This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. I'm going to write this down."
Get the logical person to say the logical thing. It's like, all right, there you go. Fair enough. Let's put that in the narrative.
Oh, you're being sarcastic, and the writer's just like, yes, sarcasm.
Greatly improved.
This dragon trap.
She has no plan. Hey, you have a weapon thingy? What is it? Dragon trap. There you go. What is that? So literally at this point, they're like, yeah, we don't need you. We were going to use that anyway, but then you knocked out our boss, so we're going to use plan B. So you can go and change.
Also, why would a dragon trap work on a giant floating head in the sky? Why would you ever think, oh, that's like, I can't even think of anything. That's just such a stupid idea. Oh, this trap for dragons, that'll work on a flying, joking cloud head.
Yeah.
And if it is, why do you need to come up with it?
Yeah, it would have been worse if the white leader dude said, "Get your bows. We're gonna go kill that thing, and then we're gonna stab it. Like, give us that would be a plan. Like, okay, you got ranged weapon, and then you stab it when it falls. This is like, we got to stop the white guy because he said to go attack the dragon." Like, okay, that's pretty dumb, but
we've got to stop the white guy because he's telling the wardens to regroup so they can hold against the darkspawn, which is their job. But the small dwarf wants to run away to the dragon trap to trap a giant floating cloud head in a dragon trap.
Yeah, see, that we have to know the context of what the dragon trap is, how it works. Is it magical?
It's a giant floating cloud head, Smud. There's no context.
I'm assuming.
What's the context?
I'm assuming they're going to fight the archdemon first and then figure out what to do with the god. I don't know. We don't know. It's a bit. I don't mind the fact that we got to solve a smaller problem first to get to a bigger problem, but you don't do that by punching the guy in charge out and say, "Listen, we got to stop the dragon first. Your idea is fine, but we need some ranged weapons. We need a plan. We need a strategy, a tactic."
The best thing is she walked into a room. You don't listen to me. Punch the guy out, and then turn to someone else. Have you got a plan?
Bioware, this is not Asura's Wrath. You can't just have normal people run around and think like, just punch it the thing.
All right.
I punch first, never ask questions.
We got a minute left. This is, as good as it gets.
Insanity.
It was built 900 years ago to stop.
Okay, so they have this ancient 900-year-old dragon trap mechanical device, I assume, and I'm assuming that was the first blight.
Well oiled.
I don't know. It's made of like magical steel that never rusts. So it's something. It's a weapon that they have ready to go. I'm not saying it's the end of Mass Effect 3 all over again. I'm just saying, they've smaller scale.
They've been sparing on the colors so far.
I'm trying to remember. Was Origins at the ending? Did it have like ballistas that you were launching at the? Yeah. And you could use them.
Boy, that was a slow battle.
Yeah, you didn't have to use the ballistas, but it was always nice to like run up to the platform and use. Yeah, okay. I think I remember that.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Grabbing ballistas? Let's use some ballistas. There's a flying dragon. Okay.
Where's the trap?
Thank God for this small table.
But it's never been used.
It only has to work once. Let's go.
All right, that's it.
That is so boring and uninspired.
Never been used. Don't know what it does. We have no clue. Wow, it sounds like Mass Effect 3. What does it do? We don't know. What's it called? The Dragon Trap. How does it work? We have no idea.
So it's lame and gay.
Well, it's not as bad as Mass Effect 3, but it's on
It's
the
lame. This is the most generic, big thing I've ever seen.
Lots of action. Go. Do a thing. Save the day. It all works out in the end.
Click the button.
All right. Let me see. Do we have any memes going? Let's find out. No idea. I think we got something here. What's going on?
I don't think this is worth memes.
September 20th. Okay. Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, Concord, Dustborn, Star Wars Outlaws. I think this is all in the same year. Dragon Age, the Veilguard's the next door for the Grim Reaper to knock on. Yeah. Maybe. We don't. Again, I think it will sell. Whether it will sell well, I don't know, but I think it will sell. And
I don't think it is. I'm telling you now, once I saw, like I say, Normies on Facebook going, pass. And so far, I've seen, in every single video that I've seen about it, you get one or two positives going, this game just is going to be good. It's Dragon Age. It's got to be good. And then everyone else going, are you fucking retarded? This is going to be terrible.
All right. Well, here's not really a meme. I've seen this, I think it was last week. And this was Corinne Bush's profile, and she did an interview, and there's what she said was, because they're a queer trans woman, I have a perspective on the games that not everyone has, obviously. Dragon
Age. That's just deranged fetishism. That's not even trans.
What's a trans queer woman perspective? I want to know exactly what that is.
It's making everything about you and your fantasy.
Yeah. The first question is, what is a queer trans woman?
Are you a gay?
That means it's yet another trans lesbian.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Which is a big indicator that that's not dysphoria.
A guy who likes to wear women's clothing and go after women.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, a cross-dresser hiding behind a man.
There you go. That's what I thought. Okay.
Good God, Corin, just get a job at the BBC. Don't ruin our games.
just go to London. You'll be fine. Not London, Ontario. London, UK. All right.
Yeah.
Has long been a place where the LGBT folks can see people.
Add more letters.
Yeah. Yeah. In Canada, that's LGBTQIA S2P. Plus or something like that. I can't remember.
They have a P now?
Spirit 2, and then there's like poly something. I can't remember the word.
I'm sure it's for poly.
I don't know. There's too many letters. I gave up after I got to the 9th one, and I just stopped. Anyway, folks
never let them add a P.
Folks can see people like themselves. Really in Dragon Age.
This is the admission that it's all about narcissistic projection. Because this is all they can do. These people cannot relate to anyone or anything that doesn't look like them. It's the admission that they lack empathy. It's the admission that they have cluster B personality disorders. And subsequently the admission that they are not creative in any way.
Yeah, I was reading this interview. It's quite clear that this bloke never played Origins or Dragon Age 2.
Yeah. And by the way, with the represented respectfully, you failed completely because you don't know what you're doing. You can't.
I remember a lot of people loving playing as dwarves. And I'm quite sure in Origins, no one was like, wow, I feel really represented playing a dwarf.
Yeah, because the dwarf lore was amazing.
Yeah, but one of the things that always gets me, and it's one of the pieces of evidence I use, the fact that no, Dragon Age wasn't always woke and everything like that, is in Dragon Age 2, when you first get Anders, you got to go to the Chantry to get that Tranquil Mage. Do you remember, Smud?
Yep.
And they make out that Anders and his name's Carl Fecker were lovers, but it was frowned upon by the Chantry and the Circle. Yeah, in Inquisition, everyone's just gay.
There's
it's like, oh, so
yeah, there's a lot of good stories in DA2, but not in the main plot. It's always off to the side. There's always an interesting character, like that creepy one that steals your mom. Like that was like, holy shit! This dude,
Quentin. Yeah,
that was over the top. Like they really pushed the envelope with what they can do with the dark fantasy stuff. So when they include stuff like this, is to have the guy going tranquil, like that's holy. Like that's nothing simple. That's a very serious thing to do, and you don't know what that means until you find out what tranquil is all about.
Yeah.
So they have all this beautiful lore set up, and they can't tell a main story that makes as much sense as a linear scenario between two characters. So,
but my original point is, in a woke game, a scene like that would never happen. Because they would never make it so that any organization would think badly of two men sleeping with each other.
Yeah, it's probably the case.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It's like that's a major thing. So when I see people talk about it, I go, "You've only interacted with Inquisition, haven't you? At the best, good stuff."
As much as I, argue with David Gator at least is sensible enough to write characters and scenarios with a degree of logic that someone can follow, as opposed to unbelievability. That we can't make fun of people. We can't do serious things sometimes when pretty much all of Anders' stories outside of the dialogue is serious. Everything about him is like vengeance and spirit of justice. Like all this is very serious. And then when he's talking to people in your party, he's like having a good time. He's joking around. So there's always this fun, adventurous stuff, and then there's the serious, dark stuff. So I remember seeing a video. Someone's saying, "Oh, Dragon Age has always been dark." It's like, yes, and it's also had bits of comedy, and they just show all these random clips from the shows or from the dialogue where they are goofing around, and they especially show Dragon Age 2's Mark of the Assassin, because that was just one big joke. So it's I hate that out of context arguments. It's like, yeah, but that's like specific elements.
And it's like, it goes, it's inherently very queer. And then, if you ask someone what's so queer about it, the first thing they say, well, Iron Bull. And you're like, right. And it's like, what else is inherently queer? And you really struggle, and then it just gets down to, well, in Dragon Age 2, you could sleep with men. It's like, right. It doesn't mean the game's inherently queer.
Well, the argument I've always said with DA2, because of the time frame, it is easier and simpler to use the same voice lines from all the actors, change the he to a her, and just use the same animations, and everything works. Everything, jives up together, and we just say, hey, we wanted to be inclusive. And if you're going to tell a story that works, I don't care. Go for it, because the way you get there makes sense. The way that these characters interact and you help them out makes. But again, that's only because of the rivalry system, of the friendship rivalry system in Dragon Age 2, and how that was set up with the dialogue. If they didn't have that, then I'd have questions, and it wouldn't feel right. So I always argue the plot is just stupid, but the dialogues and all the setup for the characters are good, if not one of the best.
Yeah, it's just the fact that obviously, as well, I can't be a Dragon Age fan now because I've been told by sexual perverts on Tumblr that I'm not a true Dragon Age fan.
True fans,
yeah. When they say, like I say, when they say that Dragon Age has always been inherently queer and everything like that, the examples they give are just so bare basic that there's like 99.9% of the Anders was straight in Awakening as well. Also, Zevran, the reason why he's the way he is because he's from Antiva, and it was supposed to show off how Antevans are different to the straight-laced Ferelden's.
Yeah.
And stuff.
I remember in DA2 there was it the effeminate elf prostitute? And
yeah, the blooming rose.
Yeah, but there's just as many normal prostitutes, if not way more, that are heterosexual. Yep. So if you want to talk about ratio, I mean, there's way more heterosexual characters in storylines than there are gay ones. But that's really it's like we already know the adult content is there. It's not that sexuality is we never. It's like no, it's the way it's presented, and the way that now that we have this weird character creator with skin discolor, like if it was just a tattoo slider, that'd be fine, or just a birthmark slider, that'd be fine. But to have like diseases like vitiligo and top surgery, like that's, you don't need that. And again, I want this story because when you put the tattoo on for the elf and you're not an elf, that means something to you, the player, because it's part of the lore of the world. I don't recall anyone in the world of Dragon Age lopping off body parts.
You know, in Shadowrun, where magic is returning to the Earth, so you get cyberpunk plus fantasy magic, so flamethrower against fireball. There are the ancient races are awakening again, and some people are then turning into elves, or are born as elves, or orcs, or ogres, or things like that. And some of the humans are frustrated that they're not elves and that they're not orcs, and they start surgically changing themselves, and they're usually called elf poses or orc poses.
Yeah, that was part of the human revolution. And
these people, to me, are transposes.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, if it's a theme of the story, again, if this was a theme of people transforming their bodies, which could be very possible in the Dragon Age world, you can do crazy stuff. If you could change time in frickin' Inquisition, I think body morphing is not, like with transforming your bodies, or you could polymorph into a spider, you could do all kinds of cool stuff. It's basically D&D. Then great, go for it. But don't just do it cosmetically because I'm a marginalized community or some weird flavor of the year in Canada. Anyway, we're done. Thank you guys. I'm going to call it a night from talking about Dragon Age for a while because, geez, we need a break. Yeah. All this media coming out every day. You're like, I don't care.
Yeah, and Hakuto, whoever said that quote was spot on, especially about the lack of essence.
Well, the thing is, I agree with what he says about queer, but in this context, what the person is trying to say is gay. They use queer in the gay form.
That's really only what the word means. It either only means gay or just means against the norm. Which means I put on weird clothes and dye my hair weird. I'm a punk now, but punk isn't cool enough anymore, so it must be something else. But it's all just that.
I will always stand against the fact that Dragon Age wasn't always woke. And to be honest with you, Origins and 2 have a hell of a lot of stuff in it that would be cancelled straight away today. So... yeah, these people at best played Inquisition, but more than likely just stumbled across some Dragon Age porn in 2017 and went, I like jerking off to that, we should make more of it. So, that's what the series is. BioWare is just that now, so...
I'm sure we're going to get a final trailer within the next 2 weeks at least. So, that we'll see, because obviously the first trailer they released was not very helpful. And maybe they've learned their lesson. They'll pay some.
Nothing they've released has been helpful.
Well, I know, but the gameplay stuff is at least something to work with to the average fan. So I think they're going to sell. Whether they're going to break even, I don't know, but they're not going to sell as well as Inquisition. And you'll get all these, like there's this guy called Shinobi on Twitter. And he's like, this is amazing. This is like, but he's like that with a lot of games too.
Yeah, I think it's been that with every single Bioware game. So
I think we call that Page Hill or 50 Cent Army or whatever name is going. Hakoto in the chat, can you send me a link on the Discord to that? That would be amazing, because that's a damning admission.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for talking or listening to us talk about the wonderful world of Veilguard. We'll probably do it again right before release or during release, just to see what media they get, because they're going to be coming out with all kinds of crap over the weeks, and we want to look at the trailer at least. They should have. If they're smart, they're going to have another trailer. They wouldn't waste the opportunity. And we'll cover it then. But till then, we'll probably be doing normal Smudcast stuff. So keep the suggestions coming. Keep on listening this weekend. We'll sure to cover those soon. And have yourself a great evening. Good night.